Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Patrani Pashyantu Markas Chituka Bhag Bhavet. May all be happy. May all be free from disease. May all realize what is good. May none be subject to misery. Good morning, friends. Today's topic is faith in ourselves and faith in God. Quoting from the great Swami Vivekananda, when he attended the World Parliament of Religions, one of the things he mentioned was faith in ourselves, faith in God. This is the secret to greatness. If you have faith in all the millions of gods and still have no faith in yourself, there is no hope for you. Have faith in yourselves and stand up and stand upon that faith and be strong, and religion will come afterwards. One of the things that you hear any coach trying to inspire his teammates, always have faith. There'll always be like some rally thing going on before a game or before any event to inspire the athlete to perform at their best. We also have life coaches. So I look on Swami Vivekananda as a life coach. So always there to inspire us, even though we may fail at times, even we fail 1,000 times. Even Swami Vivekananda says, get up again, get up 1,000 times and try again. So, but the nature of this world is that it will shake our faith. It will shake the faith that we have in ourselves, and with all the controversies in religion, politics, it will shake our religious beliefs, our faith in God. So it's easy to blame the world for all of that, but really we do that to ourselves. Because we are plagued by self-doubt, by our insecurities, the results of our past failures. We have our fears, we have fluctuations in our motivation, and we rationalize ourselves out of putting in the work. And that's the secret to faith. If you don't put in the work, you won't get the results. So I've watched some of these reality music shows like America's Got Talent or The Voice. And the common theme that seems to run through many of the young artists, even though they perform excellently, they're crippled by stage presence or by self-doubt. They don't know, are we really that good? Are we really capable of this? So they're always questioning themselves. And I would say that in the words of Swami Vivekananda, they should just go out and do their best, even if they fail. And some of them, even though they get disqualified from the show or taken off the show, it takes almost a year for them to recover from the depression of the no. We don't want to hear no. We want to hear that, oh, we are great, we are always successful. We want to hear the positive. And we don't know how to deal when we are not accepted by everyone as we want to be accepted. So we live with disappointment. But again, like any good coach, even like Swami Vivekananda, they don't want you to give up. they tell you, come back again, try again. So it's like that with our daily lives. We may not have much religious sentiment, but any faith that we gather while we do what we love to do, or we learn to love something that we don't love now, but with practice, with the right attitude, we may learn to appreciate it and love these things later. We have to put in the effort, and it's a lot of hard work. I remember when I was learning to skate, my inspiration was not necessarily some of the great skaters at that time. It was a little girl about 5 years old, because even though the rink might have had 100+ people in there, she was just struggling between sliding, walking, running, falling, and every time she got up, and she was all by herself, no parent in sight, going around, doing that 100 times. I have not seen such determination in a child. Given that I've seen others get on the ice, they cry, they fall down once, they never get on the ice again. So this is, I thought, no, this is the way to learn. So even when we have our little falls and our little struggles, we still have to get up and repeat it. And each time we repeat something, we analyze what went wrong. And that analyzing and that rethinking, okay, I better do it this way, try this. We fail again. Oh, what did we do wrong? Oh, try again. That repeated, constant thing, that programs our minds to accept failures, understand failures, and overcome the failures. So even as I'm learning to skate, how many times have I fallen? It's in the hundreds. And each time you try to spin and it doesn't work, you try to figure out, what did I do wrong? I mean, you're trying to think of the 20 different things are in your mind when you're trying, because little things are where the head is, where you're looking, where your feet are, what is your body position. And you're trying to overcome the fear. Are you getting dizzy? Are you going to fall? Are you going to trip? And how to correct all these things in the few seconds that you're spinning. So you're thinking of many different things. And this happens also when we are caught in a situation. We have to come up with an answer. We have to come up 20 different things pop into our heads. They want 5 seconds. They want an answer. So you got to come up with something. You may make mistakes, but you'll learn from those mistakes. And whenever a person falls on the ice, the first time, it's the ego that gets hurt. It may look like they fell down, but the first thing they do is look around. Who saw me fall? So that's how we behave. Oh, who saw us? Who saw me fail? And then we either continue or we give up. We say, oh, this is not for me. But the thing is that the more you try something, you realize you get a little better every time. So that kind of inspires you to try again. And you keep going. Before you know it, you can do something. I don't know how many times I've seen a skater practicing 100 times, can't get it right. One time she gets it right, so excited that she has to come around and tell me, oh, look, do you see what I did? I was able to make that jump. But how many times did she fall? So at first I didn't understand. I thought, what's the big deal? Until you try it yourself, you don't realize that, just to turn on one foot, that's not easy. So, and then how to do it smoother and smoother and with rhythm, and how to do it repetitively. Well, yeah, that's practice, practice, practice. And all those little practices, all those little successes, increase the faith that we have in ourselves. That also transfers into other things that you try to accomplish. So Swami Vivekananda wants us practice building that faith in yourself, not just in these little activities, but also in our spiritual practices. We sit down to meditate. Well, yeah, first we're very enthusiastic. We may practice for 10, 15 minutes and say, wow, I feel great. I'll do this, I'll keep doing it. We may even overdo it. We may practice for a couple of weeks and then realize, well, what's the email today? What's that text message? We start getting distracted. But if we kept our mind on it, on what we were doing, our successes would happen more frequently, quicker. But no, we are distracted. But if we realize that, and look back at it, say, okay, we are introspecting. We're saying, no, I should not be as so distracted. Let me pay attention. All of that mental machinations, whatever you call it, all that mental activity, that all goes building faith to the point where we can handle situations that come up unexpectedly. We may not know how to handle it at that moment, but yet we have a certain confidence that we have accomplished, we've overcome failures in the past, and we feel that, well, one way or the other we'll pull through. When we feel that we are desperate and we feel like it is out of our hands, then we start thinking, well, is there some greater power? Is there something else out there that controls everything? Maybe I can only control things up to a point. Beyond that, it's like resignation. I have to resign to something higher. And that happens even in any other basic activity. Anything that you pursue to its highest degree, even if it's in skating, everybody in the Olympics, everybody has the same ability. The failure is in the mental aspect, when you're actually there for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. When you see all the eyes on you, one little mistake, if that cascades into future mistakes, you can't recover from that, you may feel like you've wasted your last 20 years. So at some point, it becomes a mental issue. It's no longer physical. And how many athletes I've discovered have to have psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever, life coaches to inspire, they keep them inspired to remind them that, no, you're as good as everybody else. Why are you just have to block out block out the crowds, the cameras, just concentrate on the music, keep your mind on the activity that you're doing. Don't even think, you're not even thinking about doing the motions correctly. You're actually expressing the emotion of the music. That's all that's in your mind when you are in a performance like that. So at that point, you're not even aware that you are the ego or what you're doing. So, and when you're at that point at something, then you realize your real power. And that's when your faith in God, because at that point, He's the only one left that can assure whether success or failure. So, but like I said, you have to put in the work. And we are not willing to put in the work. We do it for things that we love. Even Sri Ramakrishna has mentioned that he says a man must have some kind of faith before he undertakes a work. Further, he feels joy when he thinks of it. Only then does he set out performing the work. And then he tells a story. Suppose there's a jar of gold coins buried in the ground. First, he must have faith that there is a jar of gold buried underground, and he feels joy at the thought of that jar. Only then will he start to dig. And as he removes the dirt, he hears a metallic sound, and his joy increases. Anticipation increases. Then he sees a corner of the jar, and it gives him immense joy. Thus, his joy is ever increasing to the point where he actually finds the gold coins in the jar. So we won't put in all that work unless we find joy in it. So we should find joy in our activities. If not, then perhaps it's a problem with our attitude. We're not doing it with the right purpose. If we do it with a sense of ego and expecting a lot of praise, and we don't get it, that can be devastating. But yet, how many musicians find joy playing music by themselves? There's a saying that every pianist can play like Mozart when they are by themselves, but if they're on stage, they shiver and can barely play. So it's almost like you have to be in the moment. All that matters is the music. What else is going out with the audience, the environment, should not even be in your mind. All that's in the music and in the expression. And only when that is done will the audience also feel what you're trying to express. So, but again, put in the work. You can only put in the work if you love what you're doing. If you love what you're doing, you'll find joy in it. When we do our spiritual practices, we need to learn to find joy in our meditations, even joy in overcoming our obstacles, knowing that those will lead to successes in the future. So, now one of the things that when Swami Vivekananda came to the West, he noticed that as people were, it was in the early part of the 19th century, exploitation, people being brought down, and a lot of crime and activity and so forth. He was in Chicago at the time. So when people are beaten down and it's hard to rise up, why is it hard to rise up? Well, we've made mistakes in the past. They haunt us. We have insecurities. We have self-doubt. And here we have someone coming from India who's standing in front of the audience. These are the people that are attending his talks. They're just the local people. They are they're attending the Parliament of Religions. They're looking for hope. They're looking for understanding. And then he understands that they are in their plight of suffering. He says, "You are the children of God, the sharers of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings. You are divinities on earth. Sinners, it is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing liable on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. You are souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. You are not matter. You are not bodies. Matter is your servant, not you, the servant of matter." So when we are suffering, we are thinking of our bodily and mental suffering. But we do not realize that we are something much more than just the body and the mind. But who thinks of that when you're in the middle of such suffering? All you can think about is, how do I get rid of this pain? How do I overcome these obstacles? There's no positive affirmation to inspire you to step out of that. I would call it maybe some kind of depression. But really, it's here Swamiji is trying to tell you, no, that's wrong thinking. You're much more than just this body and this mind. And he's trying to inspire you to have faith in that. So he says, never mind the failures, they are quite natural. And they are the beauty of life. What would life be without them? It would not be worth having if it were not for the struggles. Where would be the poetry of life? How many songs are written about suffering, lost loves? How many poems? If we didn't have the suffering in the world, where would be the happiness? Because we need one to complement the other. We just have to know how to go from our suffering to the happiness. And we do that by gradually developing faith in ourselves, step by step. Of course, it's easier if we can do that as children, if we have supportive parents, supportive family, supportive friends, supportive community. More difficult for those that don't have that and have to discover that later in life. One of the things that happens for those that, I guess, skate frequently, when possible, is you meet people of similar sentiment. Everybody wants to get better. So you encourage each other, just as you would in a family or as any other environment. If someone doesn't know how to do something, you might teach them how to do it or give some tips. Same thing would happen, a teacher in a music class. Oh, you're having trouble with the guitar? Oh, try this with your fingers. Practice this. You have to develop, it's not just work, you also have to train the body and the mind. I know that when I learned to play guitar, I grew up playing the violin. My fingers always had to be very close to each other. And after a year of playing the guitar, I realized that when I put my hands together like this, that my spread on my left hand had increased beyond what it used to be, because I had to practice reaching far, far. So you have to do all these exercises. And same when you play a piano. Some composers like to create very difficult pieces that actually may require bigger hands than you have. If you don't have those big hands, you have to quickly be able to get the hand over there, back and forth. So you're always, and then there's some musicians that have the big hands they can manage. And then I've discovered there are some famous pianists who have a custom piano made where the keys are slightly narrower so that they can actually play. They can cover a full more than an octave with their spread of their hands. So, and that way they can play even more complicated pieces. Because I was wondering, how is this possible? So, and yet, even that, to even be able to say that, oh, I need a piano like that, or I need a tool like that, required you to practice becoming a professional pianist. You had to put in the work to know that, oh, if I did that, by then you're probably famous enough that you can afford to have this custom piano made. So yes, Swami Vivekananda says, yes, there will be failures, but if you hold on to the ideal, keep looking ahead, remind yourself what you could become, read the scriptures, or watch athletes perform at their highest. Well, maybe I can do that too. So that inspires you also to keep trying. And then even if you fall or fail 1,000 times, you get up 1,000 times. And you keep making the attempt. Because there'll always come a time when you will succeed. If you keep trying, you will succeed. Even if it's just once. I remember when I was trying to spin, I was skating on hockey skates for many years, and only discovered you can't really spin on hockey skates. But yet I kept trying, and some of my fellow skaters would come up to me and say, you would be better off by trying figure skates. And so I tried figure skates, but after many falls with a toe pick and things like that, tripping over the blade that sticks at the back, you discover that, well, these skates are different. But the body adjusts. The body will adjust to anything, actually, because you'll never get the skate sharpened the same way twice, and you'll have to get used to it again. But the body will adjust. But you will keep trying, and maybe you can't even do half a turn. But you just try. And I don't know how many years it took. And it's still no good. So it is what it is. That's when you realize that's why skaters put in 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. Well, that's not my occupation. So I remember when I finally decided to ask for lessons, and my coach says, "Oh, so you want to be professional?" No, I just want to do it a couple of times. So now, in many ways, Swami Vivekananda was trying to teach us how to have faith in ourselves. But Sri Ramakrishna, he concentrated more on how to have faith in God. And Swami Vivekananda would take those teachings and apply them to practical living. So those teachings, okay, Sri Ramakrishna's ideal was a bit higher. He set the goal up high. This is where you can be when you develop faith. And he describes faith as, well, if one has the faith of a child, one will realize God. Well, watch that little girl struggle. Yeah, anyone that can struggle like that, if they did their spiritual practice like that, they would realize God. So, well, I'm a bit disorganized here, as one can tell. So as I mentioned, in order to be successful in something, you have to have love for it, and as you find joy in it, that love will increase. So if we actually, as we work on trying to develop that faith in ourselves, we develop love for it. What makes it spiritual practice is when we offer the fruits of our labor to God. When we do that, when whatever activity we're doing out of the love of God, out of service to God. So Sri Ramakrishna has given all kinds of teachings about that. Swami Vivekananda has narrowed it all down to one needs to first have faith in in themselves. Overcoming all the obstacles. The obstacles that you overcome on the outside are no different than the obstacles that you have to overcome on the inside. They are self-created based on our past karma, on our tendencies, our conditioning, and seeing that others have overcome those. If we look at Swami Vivekananda, if we look at other disciples, if we look at people in other faiths, those that have experienced God or even higher states of concentration, they have had to overcome obstacles also. And we can be inspired by their lives. We study their lives. No different than you looking at being the fan of a popular sports hero. You might play baseball as a kid, and you want to be like some other famous baseball player. So you collect all their cards, you watch them on all the videos, you go to all the games, you feel inspired by it, and you keep practicing. You go to all your practices. You may get hurt, but you get up again, you try again. So also in our spiritual practices, read about the struggles that different people have gone through, how they have overcome them. All kinds of clues are given in the teachings of Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which is compiled by one of his disciples, goes under the name of M. Mahendranath Gupta. The whole purpose of that book is to generate faith in God. So we should develop faith in whatever means that we are drawn to, whatever find joy and love to do, because that joy and love will be transferred to other things that we need to do. But we may not find the same joy or things, but by overcoming obstacles, you also have to learn how to do things you don't like to do. I don't like to give talks, but here I am. But at the same time, we need to cultivate love for God. And as we strive to make the impossible possible, we offer the fruits of our struggles to God out of love. If we hold them into ourselves, then we bear the burden of all the ridicule, of all the blame, the praise. Oh, we like to praise, but praise doesn't come without blame. Then we realize that the goal is beyond me. It's beyond our ego. And then we can throw our faith wholeheartedly into our faith for God. And only then will our faith be one of complete trust in ourselves and God. So thank you very much for attending. If you have any questions, I will try to remember to repeat them so that our online audience, I do not promise a satisfactory answer, but I will attempt so. Any questions at the moment? Otherwise, there's one question here.
Can you ask a personal question?
Okay.
Like, how did you become interested in Vedanta?
I became interested because I wanted a challenge. I mean, I've done many things in my life that I found satisfaction in. And I felt I could achieve anything. When you're 20, 22, 24, whatever, at that age, you're looking for challenges. I don't know about today's youth, but I was. So you try different things and you overcome them and you realize, well, I could do it. You feel like you can do anything. And after coming in contact with Swami Vivekananda and realizing, wow, the ultimate challenge is the mind. So I thought, well, let me try for that. I may fail. I may succeed a little here and there. Who knows? At least I'm trying.
You mentioned conquering the outside and then conquering the inside. So does it help to take up something new outside in the material world as a challenge, and will that help your internal growth?
Well, the question is, should one take up some new activity to be basically to be re-inspired?
Yeah, like you said, you picked up skating and you conquered skating. Like that would help your spiritual life too.
The question is whether my skating is helping my spiritual life. Only as far as giving talks and having stories to tell, but it gave me an appreciation because I was never a good athlete. I was very clumsy. I hated sports. The fact that I could skate surprises me. But what's more surprising is I discovered what happens if you actually stick to something. Because the goal was not to be a skater, it was just to get exercise. And that's all I kept in mind. So, should one take up new activities? No. What you should be doing is whatever you can do, and you do well, do it better. And if you do take up something, stick with it. I don't know how many skaters I've seen come and go. So anyway, the important thing is whatever you take up, you stick with it, develop a love for it, and also respect for it. Because even when you're on the ice, when you realize you have some successes and you can do a few things, you develop a love for it. Not only that, you also develop a respect for the ice because you understand how dangerous it is, and you actually learn to love the ice. But it's love and it's respect, understanding the dangers. It's no different than you living in this world, loving something so intensely, but you have to understand the dangers also. So that's the thing.
Another question is, you grew up in Canada, and how did you first come to know about Vedanta? Was it through a book or through somebody?
The question is, I grew up in Canada, but how did I come to Vedanta? Through a book or something? No, just, through Swami Vivekananda, reading his Karma Yoga.
How did you find the book?
How did I find the book is the question. Well, there was a metaphysical bookstore in Vancouver. But the important thing is that what the book contained was what every young person should read about about the goal, the purpose of life, how one should live, especially in a complicated world. Because it's Swami Vivekananda taking all these teachings and making them practical and applicable. Let me just take a question here online here. Swamiji had the strength, but some people like me, we just feel so tired about all this. Faith feels like a facade sometimes. What would Swamiji tell me? Everyone, at some point, plateaus. And at that point, you will feel like, oh, I don't feel up to it, I don't feel sincere about it anymore. And you feel unmotivated. The trick is how to get that motivation back, how to get back on the road. Well, bring up skating again. I discovered that once something is a routine, and same with meditation and prayer, when something is a routine and the thought comes, so you're not making any progress, you're not feeling motivated, it's almost like the body automatically goes and does it anyway. And I don't know, a couple of times I've intended to go to Costco, but I ended up driving to the ice rink because, well, I didn't feel like going there today. But the habit of driving back and forth there has, okay, I'll go. It's okay, skates are in the car anyway. May as well just go in and practice something. So yeah, you have to get by doing something constantly. That is actually the saving grace. You might think it's the grace of God, but it's also the grace of your effort by persevering and doing something so regularly that your body and mind will almost force you to do it to keep up with it. Especially if you have found past joys in it or past loves, but you have somehow plateaued. So you just keep up the practice. Read something inspirational. Watch an exercise video or something where you can see what's failing here. What did I do wrong? So yeah, you have to keep on practicing, keep on trying. There's no end to this practice business. So thank you all very much for coming. Another question? Yes.
So when you said, very correctly of course, that we need to offer the results, offer our work that we are pursuing to God, then we take the ego out of it. So by the same token, when we are offering to Thakur, to the Lord, is there a feeling that the results, that God is also responsible for the results?
So the question is, when we offer the results of our work to God, does God, what's the last part?
Is there a sense of responsibility on the side of God for the results?
So the question is, if we offer our fruits of our labor to God, our work, is there some responsibility on God's side for of what the results of that work would be?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think actually
I don't know what God is doing. I don't know what God is doing about that business. All I know is what I need to do to get better. But thank you. No, we have to put in the effort. It's on our shoulder. What we get from God is grace. God may provide the opportunities for us to better ourselves, but we have to be alert enough to know when to take advantage of the opportunity. And that opportunity might also come as a result of our good karma and our efforts. Just like if you put in enough effort, even to try to do something on the ice, and you keep failing, inevitably someone who knows how to do it will come up and show you how to do it, if they see that you are sincere about it. So God does the same thing. So thank you all very much for coming. I will just give some announcements. Tonight we have Ram Nam at 7 p.m. You are all invited. That will also be live streamed. And this Wednesday, we have a gospel class, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. It looks like I'll be giving that class this week. So you're all welcome to attend. That's at 7 p.m. So I will conclude with a chant. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Makaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhaved. May all be happy. May all be free from disease. May all realize what is good. May none be subject to misery. Om, peace, peace, peace to all beings.